So Keith, can somebody change a trust for an individual after that individual passes away?
Oh, that's a loaded question because in some scenarios the answer is yes, and yet probably in more scenarios the answer is no.
So go with the general first. The general response is no, and why?
Because typically when you create a trust during your lifetime, it's what we call a revocable trust, meaning the person who created it can change it, but upon their death it becomes irrevocable. So irrevocable simply means you cannot change it. So most of the time when somebody dies, the trust becomes irrevocable and it cannot be changed.
When you bring some nuance into it, when can a trust that's irrevocable, and I say it correctly, by the way.
Yes.
You said irrevocable.
That's true.
Irrevocable.
Yes.
It's an important distinction.
Yeah.
At least in my mind it is.
I'm more of a plebeian, and you're more of the elite status.
Okay.
I get it.
I'm sorry about that.
No, that's fine. I know what I am.
So in those cases where you have an irrevocable trust and you want to kill that irrevocable trust and you want to change that irrevocable trust, what are the circumstances that would allow that?
There's a few different circumstances. So some irrevocable trusts, now it's in my head, will actually have provisions in them that appoint somebody, such as a special trustee, that would have the power to revoke it or terminate it or distribute it, which is the same thing as terminating it. And so there are different things that can be built into the trust document to provide flexibility. The other way that it could happen is that a trustee could be given the discretion to distribute all the assets if they choose to do so. And some irrevocable trusts allow for that. And then the third option, if you don't have any of those flexible provisions in the trust, is there's actually provisions under the Probate Code that allow for trust termination of irrevocable trusts. Now, there's different bases you have to go under. So, for example, one of them is Probate Code Section 15403, where all the beneficiaries have to agree to revocation. And then the court, using its discretion, which the court can do or not do, can choose to terminate that trust for those beneficiaries. Another one, 15409, is changed circumstances, where you show that things have changed, and because of these changes, it's actually thwarting the purpose of the trust. And you can go to court and you can ask the court to exercise its discretion to terminate or not terminate. And if the judge feels like that's a good thing to do, the judge will terminate the trust. So we do a lot of work in that trust termination field where we're terminating irrevocable trusts on these different bases, but you do have to have a reason to do it. But it's not impossible. A lot of times people think, well, it's an irrevocable trust and therefore there's nothing I can do. It's locked away forever. Not true. There's actually a number of things that you might be able to do.
So the general rule, you're not going to be able to change a trust after it's irrevocable, but there are some exceptions to that rule, that general rule,
right,
where if the right circumstances are in place and the right arguments are put forward, that you can undo an irrevocable trust if the need arises.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, you cannot change an irrevocable trust unless you talk to Stuart and Keith.
Well, okay. I remember one of the first cases I dealt with when I was a very young lawyer, and I didn't really understand what I was doing. Maybe to this day, I don't understand what I'm doing. But there was a QPERT. What is a QPERT, Keith?
It's a qualified personal residence trust. So it's an irrevocable trust where you take the residence out of the estate for estate tax purposes.
And so you freeze the value of the residence so that it continues to, as real property continues to gain in value.
Yeah.
You freeze that for an estate tax calculation, ultimately when somebody passes away, if they're subject to the estate and gift tax. And some client of mine, or prospective client that became my client, they had gone out and downloaded some forms online. It's always safe to do that, you know. And they thought they were going to create a trust for their family, and they didn't pay that close attention to it, and they created a QPERT. And so,
rather than a revocable trust,
yes.
So they thought they were going to do an ordinary revocable trust, and instead they end up with this complicated irrevocable tax planning document.
Correct.
Okay.
And so we had to do what I called killing the QPERT. I thought that was
yeah, that's good.
Nice
you should write a movie.
Yeah, I should.
Yeah.
And so, like, To Kill a Mockingbird, you know.
Yeah, well,
to kill,
okay.
Yeah.
To Kill a QPERT, it would have been as weighty, but
people would be very interested
I'm
in
sure,
it. But anyway, we had to kill the QPERT, and it made me think about, now that we have ChatGPT and everyone, I mean, right now we can't get through a consult without somebody talking to us about what ChatGPT told them about their chances of winning the case and so forth. Now, would we still have somebody creating a QPERT when they intended to create a living trust? It probably still could happen, but I think there's less of a chance of it.
I would think so, yeah, because I think if you're using something like ChatGPT and you're asking for a trust, it probably is going to prompt the correct trust to be, coming out. The problem I think that you're going to have if you're not really talking to an expert, though, is that you're still going to be missing the overall planning structure that you need. And so, it's one thing to get the information. It's a whole different thing to apply the experience. And I think that's where people kind of go wrong. And a lot of times people don't want to spend the money to do the planning because it can be expensive. But it's a very, very small expense relative to the money that you're going to spend in litigation when things go wrong.
Yeah.